Coming up on Valley View News. As the coronavirus spreads, officials say people should watch out for fake medications being sold.
Don't order your pharmaceuticals online.
Plus, Cal State Northridge is considering bringing back its football program after almost 20 years. And CSUN baseball player Jason Newman is back from Tommy John surgery.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Xochitl Hernandez.
And I'm Tyler Ridgel.
The results are in for Super Tuesday, and Southern Californians turned in their votes. Senator Bernie Sanders is the projected winner, as well as in states like Vermont, Utah, and Colorado. But Joe Biden won in at least 9 states, including Texas and Minnesota.
So get back up and take back this country, the United States of America. There's not a single thing we can't do. God bless you, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Biden had a near run-in with animal rights activists in Los Angeles. They were quickly escorted off stage. Also in the race for Los Angeles District Attorney, the early lead has gone to Jackie Lacey.
The coronavirus has infected nearly 90,000 people worldwide. In New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo confirmed the state's first coronavirus case on Monday. A 39-year-old healthcare worker who traveled from Iran has been confined to her Manhattan apartment. The woman didn't show symptoms. Her husband is also being tested. Meanwhile, 6 people have died in Washington state from the virus. Nearly half of the cases in the U.S. have been in California. President Trump says a vaccine is being developed. Director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says creating a vaccine will take more than a year.
Some CSUN students are concerned that the school is not doing enough to keep them protected as the coronavirus spreads. Valley View News reporter William Dobby explains.
California has more coronavirus cases than any other state. 30 people have tested positive here. 8,400 people who have returned from overseas are being monitored. Authorities have stepped up efforts to confront the growing threat of the coronavirus. But what about universities?
The whole issue hasn't really been addressed, so it's like I don't really know what to expect. So it's like, should I be scared for my safety, or is it not that deep because it hasn't been expressed?
Fear grows in California and across the nation. Meanwhile, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported the first coronavirus case in California with a person who didn't travel outside of the country. The person is thought to have contracted the virus through what's called the community spread. The patient is a woman from Solano County. She's being treated at the UC Davis Medical Center in Sacramento. CSUN refused to give us an on-camera statement, but here's what's online. The Cloud Student Health Center says the virus is spread person to person through sneezing or coughing. The risk of getting the virus is low. Still, it may take up to 2 weeks to show as symptoms after infection. It says students should frequently wash their hands, avoid touching their mouth, nose, and ears, and to get the flu vaccine.
I definitely haven't heard much from the school as far as precautionary measures of what we could do.
Across campuses in California, no students or faculty member have been reported sick by the virus. Administration remain alert to any new cases. Reporting for Valley View News, William Dabby.
Now watch out for fake coronavirus medications. As the virus spreads to part of the U.S., Supervising City Attorney Kevin Gilligan says to be aware of scams.
There are a few things. Number one is don't order your pharmaceuticals online. Just don't do it. Get it from a licensed provider, from a licensed pharmacy, licensed medical provider. If you're a consumer and you're walking into a store, a few things you should look for. Every business in the city of LA is supposed to have a business tax registration certificate that's up and posted and it's supposed to have their name on it. All of the pharmacists have to be licensed and their name has to be up on the wall as part of the license.
The city recently shut down the fake pharmacies. A reminder that so far there's no vaccine or direct treatment for the coronavirus.
A Tennessee woman says she passed time in quarantine for coronavirus by reading and exercising for 14 days. Jeannie Hopland returned home from a Japanese hospital Sunday after testing twice for the coronavirus. Hopland was separated from her husband, who tested positive while aboard the Diamond Princess cruise ship. She found comfort in bonding with another American woman. Her husband, Dr. Arnold Hopland, tested positive while on the ship. He is expected to be in quarantine for another week. He even says he'll use this time to compile his experiences for a book.
CSUN hasn't had a football team since 2001. Nearly 20 years later, talks about bringing the sport back to the university is sparking some excitement. Valley View News reporter Matt Roth has more.
California State University Northridge is considering whether the school needs a football team along with a new stadium.
Building a stadium could work, but it would be at the expense of the baseball team because we'd have to replace the field with the stadium, and our baseball team's pretty good.
If CSUN wants a new stadium, the university will have to find a place to build it. Land surrounding the campus is limited.
Personally, I don't think we should have a stadium built because we don't have the fan base around here for that, so we wouldn't really make a lot of money, we would lose money, and we don't have the land to build that on.
If a stadium holding thousands of seats is built, some residents and businesses will be affected. Some apartments, homes, and buildings will be torn down.
Honestly, I think it would be a good idea to have a football team. It would be cool, but I don't see how it would work out. They would have to get rid of apartments, homes, and businesses, and I don't think that's fair. And honestly, I live close to the school, so I probably wouldn't even have a home.
A football team might bring a lot of fans and more money to the school, but it will have to cover costs for building a new stadium.
I'm for building a football stadium at CSUN because I think having a football team is important. It brings the college community together, and having that connection is great.
CSUN still isn't close to getting a football team. Nevertheless, some supporters of a team remain optimistic about football being played on campus. This is Matt Roth reporting for Valley View News.
Santa Anita Park confirmed another racehorse died. Chosen Vessel fractured his left front ankle. He was euthanized after veterinarians determined they couldn't help him. The horse was only 5 years old. Since 2018, 45 horses have died at Santa Anita. Track officials say there are fewer deaths compared to last year due to improved safety and more pressure from animal rights groups.
Clippers owner Steve Ballmer is in advanced talks to buy the Forum. Ballmer wants to construct an 18,000-seat venue for the Clippers in Inglewood, a project that will cost him nearly $1 billion. The current owner of the Forum and Madison Square Garden, James Dolan, filed a lawsuit against Inglewood to prevent Ballmer from buying the Clippers in arena. The suit suggests an additional arena would take away business from the Forum. A purchase of the Forum would end the legal feud.
Researchers from Nature Climate Change think that beaches could disappear by the year 2100. The main cause is the rising sea level and erosion. They say the East Coast and Gulf Coast will experience the most erosion. Australia is expected to lose almost 12,000 kilometers of coastline. The sea level rise would lead to forced migration for some communities and more endangered ecosystems. The researchers say cutting the use of fossil fuels can reduce the expected damage. Well, if climate change doesn't scare you, maybe some movies will. I mean, I can't even watch scary movies. Amari, what about you?
Me either. I always get a little scared they won't live up to my expectations, but so far I've heard positive things on the new remake in this week's box office. Sci-fi thriller The Invisible Man grossed $29 million at the box office. The film is about a woman who believes she's haunted by an ex-husband no one can see. It surpassed Sonic the Hedgehog, which made $16 million. And the family drama The Call of the Wild about a sled dog's struggle for survival came in third, making $13 million. Hilary Duff, who starred in the Disney series Lizzie McGuire, wants to reboot the show, but instead with Hulu. She posted the request on Instagram. The actress says there's a huge responsibility to honor her fans' relationship with Lizzie, and that limiting the reality of her role to keep a PG rating with Disney would be a disservice to everyone. Her character would now be an adult. Duff shared a screenshot of an article from The Advocate about the decision to move the Love, Simon series from Disney Plus to Hulu. Disney says that Hulu will be home to the adult-oriented content that the company deems too much for Disney Plus. Judy Shineland, also known as Judge Judy, confirmed her courtroom reality series is coming to an end. The show ran on CBS for 25 seasons. Shineland announced the news during a pre-taped appearance on The Ellen DeGeneres Show. She says her marriage with the network has been successful, as it was shown in clips for Ellen's episode. She also says that CBS will run repeats of the program. In 2018, Forbes named Shineland the year's highest paid TV host after she sold the rights to her show for $100 million in 2017. To boost their comedy game, Netflix is premiering its Netflix is a Joke Fest. It will feature over 100 shows throughout 20 venues around Hollywood. Comedians Ali Wong and Dave Chappelle will headline the festival. It's taking place April 27th to May 3rd. Chief Content Officer Ted Sarando says it's the streaming company's honor to transform LA for 1 week into the funniest place on earth. Barbara Corcoran, who stars on ABC's Shark Tank, was scammed. Corcoran lost nearly $400,000. The scammer tricked her bookkeeper into wiring the money by using an email address that was similar to her assistant's. The scammer requested payments for a renovation. The millionaire investor says she already accepts she had lost the money, but the bank the bookkeeper used to wire the money froze the transfer before it was deposited. Phishing attacks are common methods in stealing usernames, passwords, and money. That's all for your entertainment news. I'm Amari Martin.
Let's take a look at this week's Sundial headlines.
Let's go to Andy Esparza. Andy, how's it going over there?
Thank you. I'm doing well. This week at the Sundial, we're discussing elections. Our topics will include Super Tuesday and the CSUN alumni who's running for Congress. If you're interested in our issue, it's available this Wednesday, and make sure to tune in online for new and updated content. That sums it up here at the Sundial. Thank you, and back to you.
More to come on Valley View News. Luxembourg is making public transportation free.
Plus, Chick-fil-A and CSUN, a match made in heaven and ideal for Mondays. What the restaurant is doing for students, next.
Our guest for today is California State University Northridge new Chief of Police, Gregory Murphy. Thank you, Gregory Murphy, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yesterday, a message was sent from CSUN's president, Diane Harrison, that hateful messages were found here on campus. Can you tell us more about these messages?
Sure. We discovered some messages, and on our daily crime log, we always put the crimes that occurred for the previous 24 hours. We discovered, it was reported to us, some messages that were on some bathroom stall walls, something that we've seen here at at Cal State Northridge before. The bathrooms were located in our Sierra Hall, and while they proposed no threat to anyone, there were hateful messages, and that was the essence of the message that the president put out.
So now we would like to turn over to CSUN students who have voiced their concerns and would appreciate if you address them.
Absolutely.
So let's go to our first CSUN student to hear what he has to say. Let's take a look.
Basically, just what are you going to do to make sure that all of the students here are going to be safe at all times? I mean, one of the things too is that, threats aside, there have also been the string of emails that we've been getting about sexual assaults and sexual misconduct happening on campus. So what's being done to counteract that is the new, are you, speaking to the police, chief of police, are you the reason why we're being more informed of these incidents happening? If so, why won't we being told about it sooner? And then if not, why do you think that there's an increase in a rash of these crimes?
You know, I'm really not sure of the frequency of notifications prior to my arrival, but my position on that is to notify, certainly in compliance with the federal requirements, if nothing else, per the Jean Cleary Act as that goes. Now, I can also speculate that over the past 5 to 10 or 15 years even, the efforts to encourage greater reporting of sexual assault has certainly been a full-throated effort to do that by law enforcement, certainly on campuses. And so perhaps what you're referring to is the result of those efforts to get more reporting. And you know, once you get the reporting for police agencies and universities to maintain their compliance, you know, there will be notifications made.
There are students on campus that are not educated when it comes to an active shooter. So now let's go to our next two students who express the fear that they have about this matter.
I would have to say, in case active shooter, I really don't know what to do in case you're out in public if there's an active shooter. We were not taught that. there was an issue last semester. I was in the library and there was like a fire alarm went off, and I instantly thought, oh my God, there's a shooter in the building. So I had no idea what to do. I'm like, do I pack my bags? Do I hide? Do I run? I think maybe if we were more self-aware of what to do, it would ease a lot more student rate.
How he would respond in an incident like last winter when there was like a shooting threat going around, just what information he would make available to the students, like what the protocol for that would be besides just having police on campus, like how they would investigate it.
Yeah, those two very good points and question, or good point and a good question. So in the active shooter, you know, it's really a great question, and our training that we provide, there's a campus video that talks about active shooter. You know, since my arrival here, we've implemented a training program that I brought from my previous place. It's referred to as a CERT, and it's active shooter survival, escape, and reaction training. And in that, there's a cadre of department personnel that will, by request, come to a group setting. So, for example, you know, this unit here, if requested, they would come and they would provide the fundamental philosophy of responding to an active shooter, you know, first to make an assessment, then to quickly determine what you believe your best steps or alternatives are. It's consistent with run, hide, and fight. And, you know, so real quickly, I'm not going to try to train in this program, but we have that program available to come out. But the assessment is, if the best thing to do is run, then you do that, and if it's to hide and secrete yourself, then to do that. But lastly, and what I really put emphasis on is the fight portion, and quite frankly, to empower folks to have the will to survive.
Thank you. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you, Chief Murphy, for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you.